Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with a weekly comic wrap. We've already gotten started with the first issue of Gods. Now it's going to move on to this week's X-Men books as well as a Ghost Rider book. Start things off with Immortal X-Men number 16. Where we left off, the mutants that had most of the mutants that had stepped through the gates found themselves in a never-ending desert until they came upon Mother Righteous, who led them to Krakoa. Mother Righteous stated that she was being constantly attacked, seemingly by Wolverine. But Wolverine was defeated. Mother Righteous's claims of mutation were hard to pin down. She is a mutant, but it's not entirely clear what she does, with a comparison made to Legion. On Earth, Sebastian Shaw and Selene are attempting to pilfer Krakoa for everything it's worth. However, Xavier is proving to be a bit of a thorn in their side. So we open with Shaw and Selene further planning, and noting that the Orcus troops have been sent have been butchered. And so Shaw takes Selene to a treasure vault and reveals his Hellfire armor, which, though it's clearly not a Stark design, it does definitely look to have taken inspiration from Stark designs. No arc reactor, though. So the plan is to go after Xavier with a two-pronged assault. Selene goes after him telepathically, whereas Shaw attacks physically. Elsewhere, Apocalypse is narrating, though he says to not be Apocalypse, about the date about what he's doing. He is doing what he always does, testing those on the road to redemption, or to revelation. Egg is found and rescued by Hope and Exodus. Hope managed to take down the Wolverine that attacked him, but states that it looked eerily just like it looked. The look in his eye looked too much like Logan, and he was basically saying that her nightmares are bad enough without them crossing over to real life. However, the five are now reunited, and so they begin resurrections. While they don't have a Cerebro helmet, Mother Righteous assures them that she can contact the waiting room and utilize that. Mother Righteous has also found another lost mutant in the desert for Exodus and Hope to find. However, Destiny tries to explain to Hope and Exodus that they cannot trust Mother Righteous. And it seems that they don't entirely trust her anyway. Even with Hope even telling Destiny while they're gone, Destiny needs to keep an eye on Mother Righteous. But Destiny's working at pulling herself back together, back on Krakoa. The fight comes out. The battle between Xavier and Shaw and Selene continues. Xavier manages to get through Shaw's psychic defenses of his. Of Shaw's armor, giving him the passwords to a dozen key Hellfire accounts. It's enough for him to win back the Hellfire Club. And once he's done that, well, Krakoa will still be there when he's done. And so, Shaw betrays Selene and also states that tells Xavier that he hates things they've unleashed. Xavier's always a manipulative bastard, but murderous Xavier is something else. But Xavier claims he hasn't killed anyone. We have a passage from the Book of Exodus as translated. Exodus's translation, and the Lord said unto Exodus, Rise up early in the morning and stand before Apocalypse, and say unto him, Let my people go, that they may serve me. Hope and Exodus find the mutant that they've been sent after, and it's Jean. However, while dealing with Jean, Apocalypse arises from the sand and attacks Exodus, stating that he is Exodus is Satan. And Hope asks what he's talking about. And Exodus says that he doesn't know. He had visions of this desert long ago, and Exodus does think of Apocalypse as his Satan. And so, trying to figure out what's going on, Hope attempts to read Jean's mind, saying that Jean isn't well, mind's on fire, burning so hot, beyond hot, but she knows where they are, doesn't know what it means, and then asks, what's the white hot room? On Krakoa, Xavier follows makes his way to one of Sinister's labs, where a chimp that's been given Cyclops' object blast points him towards a diamond-shaped mirror. Written on it, presumably in blood, is "Please don't kill yourself," with a small red diamond. In such a manner that when Xavier looks, it appears the red diamond is on his head, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting. And yeah, Mother Righteous is absolutely manipulating the hell out of mutants. But they're in the white hot room. And of course, Jean would be there after everything. But yeah. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got X-Force number 45. Where we'd left off, X-Force had managed to escape the attack on the Hellfire Gala, but only just. They ended up they ended up being captured by Mikhail, as Mikhail is basically controlling his brother Colossus. Currently, Sage, Domino, and Black Tom are free. They stole a ring from a supporter of Mikhail's. It's giving off weird energy, so they put it into a no-place tumor. And they're trying to figure out how to free their friends. Meanwhile, Mikhail has decided that the time has come to focus on basically taking control of Orchis from within. He's given the Chronicler a list of potentials. Though the Chronicler is not entirely certain if picking a new subject will kill his previous subject. So the Chronicler discusses his time controlling Colossus, and on the Bloom, Colossus kidnaps an Orchis operative named Jun. taking her with him back to Russia. We got a data file on Jun Wei, age 31, from San Francisco. Education, Golden Valley High School, University of California, Davis, ROTC. Military experience, U.S. Army, 2 tours in Afghanistan, 2nd Lieutenant, 1st Lieutenant. Work experience, LAPD SWAT, 3 years. Grapevine Security Firm, 2 years. Orcus, 1 year, ongoing. Notable associations, subscriber to several anti-mutant podcasts and social media pages. Donor to more than a dozen anti-mutant fundraisers and political groups. Psychological profile. When Junwei was 18, her parents were killed in an automobile accident. Part of Highway 1 along the California coastline collapsed and their vehicle tumbled 1,000 feet before crashing into the ocean. Cell phone footage from other cars indicated that they were collateral damage in a seaside battle, but among the mutants identified near the scene, Magneto, Astra, Toad, and the Scarlet Witch. Junwei thereafter became radicalized. She was recruited by Orcus as a result of both her military background and her activism against Homo Superior. But Joan is brought before Mikhail the Chronicler. Mikhail manipulates the matter, her flesh, to basically put her arms together as such. Colossus is freed, and there's a blank canvas before him, and he begins to paint. In Vegas, Deadpool receives a call from Domino. It's a video call though, and they see that they see her and Sage see that he's in Vegas, try to get him to help, but yeah, no, he's not. Plus, he's an Avenger now, you know. Say that X-Force is, cool, but 90s cool, like AC Slater and Hammer Pants cool. But there's another possibility for they can look into for finding out what's the deal with the ring. And so, Sage and Domino travel to the Sanctum Sanctorum. The Chronicler begins to get to know Jun. Colossus paints what appears to be a painting of Mikhail devouring him. And he starts to remember what he did under the Chronicler's control. Sage and Domino present Strange with the ring. Who explains it's not magic. And that Mikhail's elusiveness has made him hard to pin down. Explaining that he can alter matter, turning flesh to stone, for instance, but there's not much more to it than that. Those same powers allow him to build and to move. With Sage saying he can create in-between spaces. Rifts between dimensions you can occupy like an alley between buildings. Or the space between books in a library. Strange does some research, making some telepathic notations to Sage, but stating that little is known of Mikhail Rasputin's powers. Strange has consulted the Book of Hidden Educations and Lesser-Known Curiosities, and made some brief queries into some elder biomancy scrolls, and he's flirting with the following. There's a kind of subatomic literacy to what he does. This is equitable but not equivalent to magic. If one knows the deep composition of something, then you know its name, and if you call to it by its name, it will answer. This allows one to manipulate matter, but also to redefine or reorganize it as you would letters in a sentence, so that stone could become water, wood could become flesh, glass could become fire, and so on and so on. One could call this attunement, and though it could potentially be learned as a craft for a talented few, Strange would say it is more often ingrained in the very core of a person, so that even as an infant, they might exhibit a dangerous fluency. You would hate to be the parent or sibling of a tantruming child who could change a rattle into a hammer or a blade. Furthermore, Mikhail seems to exhibit the rare talent for shoving matter aside entirely and creating places between places, what one might call a rift or void. Authors of such voids are said to control their physics, making the nowhere environments a playground or torture chamber limited only by their imagination. Though Mikhail's void belongs entirely to Mikhail, he's the god of this geography, or absence of geography. He can provide ways in, doors, gates, portals, keys, which Strange believes is what they're finding in the ring. While it all seems rather daunting, how does one find a being in a space charged with such a limited power? He notes that voids require concentration to maintain, so the creator is injured or killed, then the inhabitants of it will be expelled, or potentially crushed in a vice of atoms, crushing back suddenly together. But the Chronicler and Mikhail have an argument, and while they're distracted, Jun pulls a hidden pistol out. She always has a gun on her, and proceeds to shoot Mikhail multiple times, even after he's fallen. The Chronicler realizes he's now free, only to have Jun turn her gun on him. Trying to basically write it so that she doesn't kill him. And the entirety of the void begins to fall apart, with Wolverine, Laura, Kid Omega, Omega Red, and Colossus all noticing. With Colossus saying that the void is breaking and finding Mikhail's dead body. And that is where the issue ends. That was one way to end the Mikhail's arc. Not surprised that his ambition would progress beyond Krakoa, but figured it would have maybe lasted a bit, but oh well. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got X-Men number 27. On Earth, well, things aren't great for the mutants. A notable previously to bring up, before, I believe it was the second Hellfire Gala, Professor X and Magneto visited Mr. Fantastic, and well, the Fantastic Four, and Xavier removed a piece of knowledge from Mr. Fantastic's mind, but not to the point where he'd forget it ever happened, that it was ever there. More to the point of knowing it was there and that he couldn't get to it. That knowledge is how to mask a mutant signature. Also, more recently, though, after the fall, Kate Pryde has retaken the moniker of Shadowcat and is since she can use the gates, she is performing various covert operations for the X-Men, in part getting a census of who was left. Other missions are being undertaken by other X-Men, including Rasputin 4, and Miss Marvel, Synch, and Talon. So, Kate ends up at the Henry Geiger Re-Education Center on Reynolds Island in New York. While there, she finds Juggernaut. Juggernaut explains that the chain around his neck is basically, if he tugs on it, it's going to strangle the mutant in the cell next to him. Kate steps through, discovers that next to him is Cyclops, and discovers that it's a lot more than that. There's a dead man's switch. She can't just phase him out, but she's able to phase the collar off of Juggernaut. She asks him, hey, you're free, but give me some time to complete a census of who all's in here before you escape. So that way I can actually get out. Meanwhile, the rest of the X-Men are planning. They managed to get Kate managed to get a Cerebro helmet. And so, Synch, Talon, Rasputin, and Miss Marvel are going to visit the Fantastic Four. Currently, the Fantastic Four, because of events in their title, are living in Arizona. Rasputin takes point, meets the Thing, and promptly knocks him on his ass. Which doesn't exactly bode well for their plan. But the Human Torch shows up, and rather than escalating things into a fight, Rasputin simply puts him to sleep. Reed and Sue come out to see what's going on, and they're pretty certain that they just heard Thing get hit. It's not a sound you get used to. It sounds like rock hitting flesh. They come upon Rasputin, though Miss Marvel is able to calm her down a bit. She explains they don't seek conflict. They require information, what Xavier and Magneto took from him. But Xavier says, or Reed states that they'll figure out. He noodles on it every now and then. Doesn't need their help, but she explains that they don't care if Reed maintains the information. They simply need the information in general. And she shows that she has Kitty Pryde's intangibility, and once again punches Thing when he tries to go for a rematch. But the Cerebro helmet is put on Rasputin. Her, Reed, and Sue go into Reed's mind, where it turns out that the information was removed, not just hidden, but completely and absolutely removed. There's no way to retrieve it. It's not there. But Kamala says that it's funny. Apparently Xavier, there was a word that Xavier, Reed explained that they masked Franklin's mutant signature, and Kamala states that Xavier used the same word with her on the attack, saying that Terrigenesis to give her human gifts masked her mutant one. And it clicks. That's what it was. Reed remembers that he used Terrigen mists. In higher concentrations, the mist can hurt and even kill, but in lower targeted doses, they can camouflage the X gene. And but she's going. So Xavier's are working on an X gene mask, and he'll let the X-Men know when he's got a working one. The X-Men also apologize to the new recruit. But as they leave, the Thing says he wants a rematch, with Human Torch saying he's not a fan, and Ben agreeing. at one of the likely presumably at the Bloom. Um, Stasis tells Firestar he's decided what to do with the Juggernaut. Apparently, Juggernaut escaped through that adamantium collar. However, luckily Nimrod was on site and beat Juggernaut's head in again. And King Marco is too dangerous to try and pacify. So rather than execute him, Stasis has realized that the magic gem of his inside his body. That magic gem is inside his body, and he's going to extract it surgically and then ingest it. Saying that he hopes the world is ready for Dr. Juggernaut. Juggernaut's scheduled for an autopsy in the morning. The wine the two of them are having over dinner goes down the wrong way for Firestar. But that is where the issue ends. Presumably, that information is going to be gotten to the X-Men, and see how the next issue is. The next it says jailbreak. Well, I guess that's not going to be that the autopsy and Dr. Juggernaut aren't going to be happening. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we've got the Ghost Rider Annual. This is not a part of Contents of Chaos, though Ghost Rider was involved in that. So, in Salem, Massachusetts, the Hood shows up at an occult bookstore. The proprietor of which is an extra-dimensional entity in possession of a specific book. The Hood uses the Hollow Gospels. The Hood uses it to basically take control of Salem and presumably move forward onto the world. But at the Dead Tired Inn, Johnny and Talia are having some downtime. Johnny's carved a pumpkin because, well, or carved a jack-o'-lantern because, spooky season. Looks an awful lot like a flaming skull. But the TV goes static, and Talia has an episode saying that something is really, really wrong, and the writer feels it too. When also Bloodstone shows up. So, the three of them head to Salem, which is currently under a jack-o'-lantern shaped dome. Talia touches the barrier and pulls out a demon, which she's able to do away with. Three of them go in, deal with the possessed people, who are just possessed people, innocents. Apparently, Johnny is being given just enough power from the spirit to be useful, namely pulling his chain out. Then actual monsters arrive. One of them snags Talia. The whole, don't spill on some blood thing kind of goes out the window because, well, because these monsters aren't innocent. But the writer takes over and goes after the Hood. Apparently, the Hood has to finish the book, the Hollow Gospels. He begins to do so, but Johnny and Elsa show up. Elsa dealing with the demons and zombies on the Hood's side. Talia prevents the Hood from using her as a sacrifice, and Johnny deals with the giant Halloween spirit. Everyone stopped, and the the Hood is seemingly trapped within the Hallowed Gospels, which Elsa is going to be keeping. Though they state that they're not sure if the Hood's trapped in the book, but the book will no longer be a threat. Talia says that she doesn't know where the Hood's been or where he's gone, but she feels like he keeps seeing it. She keeps seeing him out of the corner of her eye, like an ugly shadow following them. That is where the issue ends. Interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised that our Ghost Art annual in October, and it's Halloween themed, but it's also nice to see the Hood pop back, and there are references made to the last time we saw the Hood back during Spider-Man Beyond, when Black Cat and Mary Jane managed to trap him for a brief period. But anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.